Hey everybody, Moshin Mikey here. I'm going to do a vlog today. A couple different things I got on my mind. First I'm going to get a couple of the trailers, I guess you would call them, out of the way. Next year, in 2021, I decided I'm going to do a little video vlog series at least maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe once a week if I like it, if I get a lot of content or whatever. I'm going to call it Thinking Out Loud. It's still going to be Moshin Mikey, but Thinking Out Loud series. Be about music, about anything related to music, around local music. It could be, the big dogs up in Metallica area and stuff like. Any albums that come out, I'll talk about those, or stupid shit they say or do, and the local groups, original music coming out, or shows coming up and all that stuff. Just, it'll be a short half hour, maybe 20 minutes. If there's nothing going on, maybe 15, 20 minutes, I won't ramble as bad. I just want to get on and talk a little bit. I like talking to myself, of course, on my iPad, but is what it is, right? So, but here we are towards the end of the year, and been a fucked up 2020. We all know that. And so the other thing I'm going to hop on today is not really a trailer, I guess. It's just the little topic today will be defining moments. And 2020 has not had many. I mean, in the music world, it has had a few, and it's been a down year for music. It's a lot of things went wrong this year, but there was still some good in it. As far as I go, the Undying Obsession played a show. That was one of our up points. We released the new EP, The Mission Volume 2. I thought it was fucking great. I still think it's fucking great. And it's out there, and of course, people, it's a local band, nobody cares, but some people care, but, not millions and thousands and hundreds of thousands or whatever. We got our little group, and, I wrote a song, and in the song I say self-satisfaction is all you really need, or all I ever need, I guess. And that's still true. I mean, accolades are nice. People telling you your songs mean something to them is nice. You rarely get it, but it's nice when it happens. But I've been doing this for 30 some odd years. I mean, this is what, 33rd year I've done music. It's like, wow. Even starting from just a duo guitar and vocals to playing the drums in 2 different bands to being in a band for 24 years, in that stretch. And then second go around with the Undying Obsession, we had 2 years first time. It's like, it was all for 6 years, and we've been back at it for 2 years. So it's like, it's great. I mean, I go through all the bands, I think, reminisce of all the bands that I've been in and all the stuff we did, and there's defining moments in every single one of them. I mean, I go back to way back when I was playing, Rod Scott was playing guitar in the basement of his parents' house, and he said, "Why don't you come over, I'm just going to jam, and you grab a microphone, blah, blah, blah." I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, so I'd yell and scream or whatever. We did some bad covers, for what you can do with a guitar, Try to do hella weights with just a guitar. It's fucked up, but even then, first song I wrote a song with guitar and everything. I mean, it was like a full song. Hey, had a verse, chorus, verse, whatever. That was a defining moment for my days in Plastic Vomit. He moved on to Serpent. Serpent was basically the same duo, just different type of music. Took it a little more seriously. I wrote a song for Serpent. Defining moment there. And move on to Oh, what was next? Lame Excuse. Lame Excuse. It was spelled XQ apostrophe S. I guess the defining moment for that was creating the song for song, and we wrote a song, and I wrote it on the vocally, lyrically, whatever it did, and on the drums. So there you go, another defining moment. And that was my defining moment for Lame Excuse. You move on to Rhineck. Rhineck was actually had some good shit, you know. And in Rhineck was different for me. Well, not then, but now, because I didn't sing for Rhineck. I mean, I was the drummer. I was the guy in the back. Taught myself how to play drums, and I got a fucking trash out of the dumpster or whatever. Learned how to play drums, and that had some defining moments to it, though. We had full songs. We had like 6 songs, you know, and I got to write a bunch of songs on the drums. And there was a couple that I had written, kind of screwing around vocal-wise. I mean, lyrics, and they were included too. So it's kind of had a double edge in there again. You know, it was like kind of a Lame Excuse thing, but this is a full-fledged band. Lame Excuse was 3. I mean, we moved it from duo to 3. This one was 5. You know, we had the full onslaught: 2 guitar players, a bass player, a drummer, and a singer. So it was full-blown band. We were going to record. You know, the guys in the band know the debacle that happened when we tried to record, and I think that was our only shot, because at the time there was a couple guys that were leaning towards bigger and better things, and they were going to record, probably be done anyway. But still, the defining moment for that was having a whole album. We had 5, I know at least 5 songs. I could still name them, you know. We had Hate Song, Dark Valley. We had Anguish. We had 3-Minute Song. We had Out in the Rain. And The Original Time. So we had 5 songs. We were going to record the EP. Shit got fucking wanked up and didn't do it. But I guess the defining moment for that band was just having a full amount of songs ready to go that could have been recorded and could have been kick ass. And time was still used. Time was used in the next venture band that we had with, you know, Laughing Cattle. But in between that time, or kind of bridging that gap, I think we did it both in Rhineck and both Laughing Cattle at the beginning, kind of, sort of. We did some different things, but you know, so Rhineck's defining moment was having the EP. The next little, it really wasn't a band, but it was something we called skin flinting. We called it skin flint. And when we would switch instruments. So, you know, and it was started in Rhineck when we, at the end of a long practice. You know, back then we used to start like 9 in the morning and play till 5 in the afternoon on a Saturday and be trashed when we left. I mean, it was start drinking at 9:30, quit drinking at 9:30 at night. You know, you're 20, you know, whatever, 21. So, excuse me. And you had a good time back then. It was like you're a lot younger and able to handle it back then. But I guess the defining moments for Skinflint kept coming, and there's songs that were just the defining moment for me for Skinflint was a song called Beer Can Collection. And what that was a drunken day, and I think Jamie at the time, it had to have been in Rhineck, because I remember Jamie didn't get to play guitar all the time. So, because he was singing in the other band, in Rhinebeck. So when it comes to this drunken part where it's like, I jumped on there and started playing a drum beat or whatever, and Rod was drunk, he was going to sing. And then Jamie's going to play guitar. Those two are going to flip-flop. And we had a couple good songs, like I sang on one called Dr. Scholl's. It was a classic about having crabs and jock itch powder, yeah. Serious content like that, you know. And for the Skin Flint was the beer can collection. The Pledge was a good one, but the beer can collection is the defining moment. And, you know, because I'm playing drums, Jamie's playing this rhythm on the guitar, and Rod's reading off, literally, this beer can collection that Jamie had on his wall. And it started at one end and had beer cans all the way to the other end. And he just starts screaming, you know, first beer can, Pabst Blue Ribbon, you know, and it's like, Busch Light, Michelob, Old Milwaukee. It's bad that I can still remember. And I could probably recite the whole thing, but that was a defining moment. We go back, and luckily we recorded it and had it on tape to listen to forever. And it's just fucking, it's great that you have that time and space that just for fun, but it means a lot to the guys that were there. Like, me and Jamie still talk about it, you know, and he got it to the point where he didn't want the beer cans to get jacked up. He wanted them just like Rod read them off. And they actually hot glued the beer cans to the ledge up there, where it would stay in infamy, whatever they call that, forever. So the beer can collection was intact. And that was just cool. That was a defining moment for we'll call it the Skin Flint era, but it was really Rhinebeck / Skin Flint. So we move on to Laughing Cattle. Okay, there was a lot of defining moments. I don't know that I can pick one absolute defining moment, but I can pick like eras out. Like the original era was just me and Jamie, right? So I'm playing drums, and then he's playing guitar. We had a bass player just hop on. Like, we had two different bass players from other local bands helped us out. And, you know, one of the defining moments, I guess, could be recording a full-length cassette back in the day, cassette. But I don't know if that was even the defining moment. I think the defining moment for me with that era, with just me and Jamie in the band, would probably be being in the Sydney paper with our tapes for sale, our pictures in there, or we got a little article. It's about that big, you know, it's not a big article. But, you know, I'm standing there with my badass self with my drumsticks, and Jamie's got the guitar, you know, and it's like, it's hilarious now, but at that time, it's like, I was just shit, man. And we were selling our cassettes, you know, down at, I think we might have been selling them at Magnum. I can't remember. It was one of the stores that, I think that was the music store we sold them at. I don't know if we ever sold any more than a dozen or something, but no, we sold pretty good on that. I mean, a lot of people just wanted to have it. We had the original cover, which was a piece of shit looking house. I don't even know why we put it. And the second one was some damn dingo or something. I don't know. We were bad at picking fucking covers. You know, the album's name was Prod, for God's sakes. Should have been something to do with a cow, right? No, we missed the boat. Laughing Cattle Prod, and we put a fucking dingo on there. We're odd, you know. Maybe that was the message, that we're odd. So that was the defining moment for me with just us. And then when the two other, the Jason and Chris came along, probably the defining moment for me for that was playing a show with like the heavyweight people, the heavyweights of the area. Even though we got fucked into playing last or whatever. But it was still cool, you know, at the time, Tunnel and the Pliskins and Throttle. These guys were the shit. I mean, to play a show at Little Moe's in Piqua with bands of this caliber, being just a normal rock band like we were, that was a defining moment, even though by the time we played there was 7 people there. It was probably 300 there. 300 when Throttle played. Hey, take small victories, man. And that was a defining moment for when they were in the band. So, and you move on to like the Walt Matt era. Other than, I guess, the defining moment with them as far as playing shows, for me, it was playing Joe's Place. Because I thought we played a great set there. It was with Altamira. And, I mean, I think we were just slamming it. And we did a good job that night. Had a good show at the Firehouse, too. But I'd say for show-wise, either AJ's Party, because it was the first show, or the Phoenix show was, maybe I have to switch that, because the Phoenix show with Race 101 and Sometimes 5 was off the fucking chain. I mean, it was just, I scared to death. I was freaked out, but it was a blast, and that place was as packed as I've ever seen it. And we're smack dab in the middle of these two. Oh no, we played first, but still, it was phenomenal to be in the room with these two bands. And it was local legends, and that's the defining moment. I mean, I didn't don't want to say I forgot about that, but there's a lot of stuff going through my head right now. I'm trying to pick one defining moment for every. And music-wise, just doing the Rawhide CD. We did the 5 or 6 song Rawhide Mafia EP that kind of, had some good songs on the songs that were classics. On that Rawhide Mafia is the only recorded version of SPD, which happens to be one of the fan favorites. It was in the Sydney Trio, blah, blah, blah. I mean, unless you know Laughing Cattle and their back history, you're probably not going to get it. It was a song about the Sydney Police Department, and I wrote it on my way home from my second DUI. I got the stuff in my head. I went home. When I got dropped off, I wrote the song, went to bed. I woke up the next day, took it to them guys. Said, here, I got a song, fucking SPD, fucking DUI again, bullshit, And it's one of them songs, but it ended up being like a fan favorite song, and it's a tongue-in-cheek song, but it's like, even the guys down at the SPD got a kick out of it. My cousin was her husband's a dispatcher, and and they liked it, and he liked it. He thought it was funny. It's like I wasn't doing any harm. I was just bitching, making fun of them being Mayberry and this shit like that. So that's a defining moment for, I guess, them. Far as SPD is the defining moment for that lineup and the Phoenix show as far as shows go. All right, so we move on to I'm still on, and the next lineup was, what was that? Would that be probably playing the Sydney Theater. I mean, we had with Kat the Entertainer, who was the midget stripper. Yeah, that was Kevin, Steve, Larry, and me and Jamie, of course. That lineup, other than, and for the show-wise, that has to be it. It has to be the Sydney Theater with Kat the Entertainer, and it was just, playing the Sydney Theater was a big deal. Because, as a kid, you go there to watch movies, you look at this big-ass stage, and it's like, oh, man. It's got the balcony, it's got the cool look to it, and yeah, that was it. I mean, it was a big-ass stage. I moved around a lot, I had fun. Good show. Good, solid show. And then Kat the Entertainer with it was all ages. They forgot to tell her, I guess. She's around flashing her tits, and people running for the hills, getting their kids out of there. And I bet it was fun. It was a good show. We played a good, even with all the echoing and shit, it was like, we had played there, I think, maybe once before. No, I can't remember if that. I know there's a lot of echo, and it drove us nuts. But Second time we played there, they had it managed, but first time, yeah, that first time was a trip. But it was a good show. It was an excellent show. So that's the defining moment. Music wise, the Big Rock CD. You know, it was a lot of songs that came from like outside, sort of like Kill Floor was just something that, and it was a song I had written, and I really didn't have any guitar in my head. I had the drum and bass thing going. So Jamie, you know, he kind of, I asked him if he could give me 10 minutes with these guys, and he was cool about it, and he left and come back, and Steve had written this bass line for Kill Floor, and Larry had the drum beat, and it became, you know, it's been recorded twice. You know, it was on Big Rock, and then Jamie and John and Chris did it on their post Mikey album that they made Outside the Box, and it's on there too. And so it's lived for that long. And that was, you're talking 2008, yeah, 2008, so 12 years ago. So that was a good, with that group, that was the defining moment. And we moved to when we just went down to 4 with Kevin playing the bass, and me and Jamie and Larry. We played a show at the downtown at the Rainbow Bar and Grill outside. That was the show for that. That was the defining moment, because I don't know that I'd ever spent a lot of time outdoors playing. I think I had, but that was like, really, the Rainbow? It was always so small. It was right downtown. It's like, nah, you can't play the Rainbow. There's nowhere to play. Took us out back, had the gazebo. Oh, man, wow. I admit I got a little trashed, but the show itself was fantastic and good time. I wasn't the greatest that day, and the vocals were way too off, but I didn't care. And nobody seemed to complain. It was a good time, a good crowd. They were talking about a good crowd, and had a lot of fun. That was the defining moment with us, that lineup. So then we moved to what would be the Redemption lineup, which we had Zach come in. And I think the defining show moment for me would have been the Halloween Hog Roast. It was Zach's first show, I believe. And, you know, Halloween Hog Roasts were always incredible anyway. They were like some of the best shows I've ever played in my life. But for some reason, this one, it was just super tight. I played twice that night, so it was like I played in what's coming up, the UO stuff, but I played in that earlier, and then I turned around and played with Laughing Cattle, which was my main band, and it was Zach's first show, and I think it was one of the bigger crowds at the Hog Roast we've had. I mean, at that time, it was a good-sized crowd, and I think we were on point. Everybody was good. It was the album was, you know, this was before the album came out, but it was like all the songs that were on the CD were on, they're rolling and rolling along, and it was just a tight show, fun show. So that with Zach, other than recording, as far as the shows go, it's that. As far as the music-wise goes, it's definitely the recording of Redemption, which is still, in my opinion, the best Cattle album ever. Might be, you know, it's very good. I mean, it's up there. In my mind, it's one of the best albums around, you know, and it's just the way it was. So we had that, and Zach, you know, was in that, and then we went to when Zach went to school or whatever, and we had Scott come in to play bass, and he was my bass player in UO. So I'll get to UO in a little bit. So we had Scott come in and play the bass, and there was a lot of good shows there. The brewery show sticks out a little bit. That was with the Second Rate Citizens. That one sticks out. We did a Hog Roast show with that lineup the next year, I believe. But then I just can't get past the defining moment on that one as there was a show. Oh God, where was that at? It was I can't even. I'm losing my mind here. It might have been. No, it was. It was after the fact when we had George come in to play bass. Scott moved to second guitar. That's when I get around with was the CNC show, and I can't remember the first year. I'm thinking Scott played the bass the first time. And that's where I get mixed up because it's been 7, 8 years ago. We played CNC twice. I think we played with Scott on the bass once and with George on the bass once. To my recollection here. Maybe I might be wrong. But those were defining moments because here we're in a bar where cover bands play. And we're playing the whole night. And we get to play like 2-3 sets of our own stuff, and then we play the set of covers, which, you know, it was cool. The owner let us do that, and we had a good time. Sorry. And it's a defining moment for me, for that band. Well, the other one would be the Rocking for Kendall show at the Phoenix. It was a good show. It was outside. It was a big day, important day, and we were honored to play, you know. So that's another defining moment for that lineup. And I mean, and I could go on, but then the last part of the lineup would be when Chris came back from Texas after a bunch of years, and we had already added John Bargy to play bass. We had a pretty good amount of shows that year. I mean, it's hard to even pick out the best one. We played it down at campground where I stay. That was a good show. We played the Moon Ranch show. That was a good, solid show. I mean, there was a few I would have to pick, and this is just me talking. I don't know, the Hollywood, it was a pretty close tie between Club Panama and Springfield, because I'd always wanted to play there, and but that was a frustrating night because everything got behind because some arrogant jackass band wanted to play into everybody's set time, you know, fucking dicks. That was a dick move, and that's what I thought about it. So I'm gonna have to go with the Halloween Riot, which, you know, we played with some good band, you know, our buddies, you know. It was like Seven Stone and Grey Cloud 9, and we had the headliner was Billy Youngblood, and, you know, Smoking Gorillas and stuff. But we had a good time there. We were all in costume. We were slamming along pretty well, and then the only other defining moment I can think of that one would be the Phoenix show. That was on March the 31st, 2017? Yeah, 2017. That would be the last show I played with Cattle. That's a defining moment for me, not so much the lineup, but it was a defining moment in my music career to play my final show after 24 years. So, I mentioned UO, and I'm going to go back to the original UO for this one. The original UO in 2010, I'd say our defining moment had to be the Hog Roast, 2810. You know, that year, the first one I was talking about being Zach's first show. It was also the first ever UO show. And, you know, it was a good night. Good night. And so for being as nervous we were and not really having a bunch of time in, because it's like, I think it was not too much before that we finally found Scott as a bass player. So it was like he had to cram, and we had, 9 songs? Yeah, 9 songs we did, and it was a defining moment, you know? It was like, hey, it's the first time, and the only other one that comes close in memory was like when Eric joined the band later as the second guitarist, was probably the Sticky Pit, when we did the show. I did a double show with Laughing Cattle out there. So we did our full show, and then Laughing Kettle did their 2 sets, and that was fun. That was like my first double duty, I believe. So that was interesting, to say the least. The UO had a lot of defining moments. So did Cattle, but the UO had and some of the shows on like the festival. I've never played a festival. I played them in both bands, which is great. That was defining moments. Lockington Canal Festival. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've ever had local or original bands play since, but I don't even know if it's still in existence. But it was definitely, one you mark off the list. I played a festival, mark it off. And, the last big defining moment was playing at the Thompson House. And what made that better for me, I mean, the UO playing it down there was great. And that was like, I think it was our bass player's second show. And, but I'll get on the new UO in a minute. But yeah, as far as that goes, the Thompson House was, and it was playing right before. It was like playing a double show, but I wasn't singing for Laughing Cattle anymore, so it was like different. But it was a defining moment that we were playing out of state, playing together on the same, because that was one of our goals when I was in that band, and we never really got to do. So to do it and do it that proximity of each other by chance, it wasn't like we requested to be by each other, but it's the way it worked out. It's kind of it was a defining moment. To me, it was a big thing. Now we move on to the UO, this bad boy, the current edition of the UO. A defining moment. For me, I got so many. I mean, there's just too many. Writing and creating songs with my daughter on the drums was amazing in itself, and we actually did that 6 times. I mean, 6 brand new songs, and then we had the 4 that were older UO songs, but she still did her thing to them. She still twisted them up, and so the big thing is playing music and creating music with the kid is a defining moment. So many shows that were just defining. The Odd Body show was a big deal. Gromy's Halloween Bash was a big deal. I mean, the Gromy show with the Convalescents was interesting, but it was, So, and of course, both the EPs coming out, and me and Scott getting to release the 4 songs the older songs that we'd been wanting to release forever, kind of tied up the loose ends, and said, okay, we didn't get to do this in 2010, 2012. We're doing it now. And, that was the big defining moments. And, right now, then, we got Eric in as the drummer now, and we're seeing what's happening. We're trying to get back in the groove of things. 2020 was a fucking band killer for sure. We're not dead. I mean, we might have been slowed down, and we even got to the point where it's like, I did anyway. It's like, fuck, hard to motivate yourself in this crap. You're not getting any rewards when you can't play, and you can't play out, and you can't. It's just aggravating, but we've started practicing again, and everything seems to be going good, and hopefully write some new stuff, get regenerated, and spring, get out and play a couple shows, and go to the studio maybe in summer, and go to play some more shows in the fall, whatever. And we're working on it. But so a lot of defining moments in career that spans right now 33 years. But I'm hoping for a lot more defining moments. I'm sure there's many I missed. I mean, that could have been considered a big deal. But those were the ones that stand out to me, and I felt like rambling about them today. Like I said, next year I'm gonna start doing a shorter version, like a 20-minute Monday, something like that. I'll call it 20-minute Monday, and just go over anything new I'd heard, like a new album come out. Oh, you got to hear this, or this band's doing this, or this band's playing here. It's like I'm going to go see Crowbar at your Courtyard again, or something, or what do you think of the new, what do you think of the new Steel Panther album? You know, something. Go over my thing if I hear anything new. It's like, really, in reality, I'm doing this for myself. But every couple weeks, if you want to nerd out with me about local and big time music, come nerd out with me. Till then, folks, you know, keep on rocking. Moshin Mikey. Peace out.